Discover the incredible card that revealed our hidden family trip and inspiring Thanksgiving surprise. In the hushed corners of Emma's modest living room, the chill of late November seeped through the windows. The smell of pumpkin spice clung to the air, but it was the sight of an old postcard that stopped her breath in its tracks. Vibrant hues depicted a family gathered around a picnic table against a backdrop of golden leaves, laughter echoing through the national park like sweet music. The postcard was postmarked decades ago, a remnant of her father's hopes and dreams, a Thanksgiving overflowing with warmth and connection. Emma's heart thudded. Could such joy be theirs? Her children, Sam and Lily, had been buzzing with excitement lately, whispers of visiting their grandfather creeping into their conversations like falling leaves. Though they had never met the man, the yearning for connection filled the air, thick and palpable, as if the very earth beneath their feet could sense it. Emma felt the weight of unanswered questions and strained family ties as she juggled double shifts at the diner while dreaming of simple moments at table laden with food, heartfelt stories exchanged, and hugs that wrapped around them like cozy blankets on a cold night. Yet, she often felt invisible, trapped beneath the shadows of financial struggle while her heart ached for the love her children craved. That postcard ignited a spark in her, a flickering hope amidst the chaos. Emma envisioned a surprise trip to that very park, an adventure that could heal old wounds and reunite her children with the grandfather they held in their dreams. She imagined walking along the sun-dappled trails, sharing roasted turkey under an expansive sky, where worries could dissolve into laughter. Yes, this was her chance to break through the barriers that had long kept her family apart. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As Thanksgiving approached, the excitement of the anticipated trip filled Emma with relentless, bubbling energy. They would leave the troubles behind, stepping into hope and anticipation. But deep down, fear whispered to her about the unresolved past, the misunderstandings that echoed like a long-lost melody. Would her father's choices and harsh words of the past taint their reunion, or could they finally find forgiveness? On that golden afternoon beneath the sprawling trees, the family gathered around a table that Emma had worked tirelessly to fill. Smiles flickered and stories of old began to flow. But as the sun dipped lower, shadows of tension emerged, hearts raced, and guilt seeped into each word. Emma's pulse quickened as vulnerability surfaced, old fractures revealing themselves amidst laughter. Would they ever heal? The postcard's promise loomed in the air like an unanswered question, hanging heavily over them as they sought a path forward. Would they discover the courage to face the truth or fracture beneath its weight, like the fragile leaves caught in the wind? The answers awaited as they faced the challenge of Thanksgiving together, hearts intertwined, or risked losing everything once more. Emma watched her children's faces light up with joy, the tension in the air thickening as they passed around the dishes she had prepared with love. The roasted turkey glistened, potatoes were creamy, and the pumpkin pie sat like a crown jewel in the middle of the table. But beneath the surface of their cheerful banter, she felt an undercurrent of unease. "Mom, tell us again about Grandpa," Lily said, her wide eyes full of curiosity. Sam nodded avidly, his fork frozen midair. Emma swallowed hard. "Well, he loves the outdoors. He used to take me hiking and would spend hours trying to teach me about all the trees." The children leaned closer, enthusiastic as if hearing a distant song finally coming into focus. "What about that postcard?" Sam chirped. "The one with all the leaves and the picnic?" "Yes, that postcard," Emma replied, her voice catching slightly. "It was one of the best days I ever had." The warmth of the moment wrapped around her, but the cold shiver of what they hadn't spoken hung in the air. She caught a glimpse of her father through the hazy lens of memory, his laughter, his stories, but also his anger. The heaviness of unspoken words loomed, Like shadows threatening to break the spirit of this precious evening, Lily's voice broke through her thoughts. Do you think he'll like us? Emma hesitated, the unfiltered hope in her daughter's eyes, both exhilarating and crushing. He's never met you, but I know he's very excited. How excited? Sam asked, leaning in closer with youthful determination. More excited than we can imagine, Emma replied, not fully convincing even herself. The laughter and chatter continued, but one look at the postcard on the table made her chest tighten. She grabbed it, holding it as if it were a lifeline. Back then, they all looked so carefree, their smiles bright against the brilliant backdrop. But life's complexities had darkened the edges of that scene. As the sun dipped behind the horizon, she noticed her father's scrunched expression beside his beaming smile in the postcard. He had a complicated, messy past that had etched lines on his face before she was even born. Emma was determined to change the narrative that had plagued their family. She wanted to write a new chapter, something bright and healing instead of the discord that shadowed their history. Feeling the weight of the moment pressing down on her, Emma swallowed her fears and took a deep breath. Tonight is about us, she said, her voice steadying. Let us share what we're thankful for. The initial flush of excitement dulled as the kids exchanged glances. Then, one by one, they shared their blessings, simple, genuine, and innocent. Each grateful word chipped away at the walls, softening the edges of the past. Tears pricked at Emma's eyes as she listened to their hopes, the desires to be a family, to be connected. But just as the warmth enveloped them, Sam's next words sent a jolt through the fragile atmosphere. I wish Grandpa could be here. Emma's heart dropped. The realization struck her like winter's chill. What if he was really too mired in the past? What if he refused to open his heart? The air thickened, tension swarming as she considered the possibilities. He will be here, Sam, she asserted, her voice clinging to the edge of hope. But we'll have to embrace whatever comes our way together. At that moment, the postcard glimmered in the candlelight, reflecting dreams lost and new ones waiting to be forged. As their eyes met, each child's gaze held unyielding trust in her words. Could they really face the truth of their family's past and emerge with love? The night unfolded towards uncertainty, each moment a step on an uncharted path. Tomorrow brought adventure, yes, but also the risk of unearthing painful truths. Emma grasped their hands, feeling the pulse of anticipation and fear meld into something beautiful. What awaited them once they stepped onto that familiar earth? Emma's heart raced. She wanted to believe they could find what they were looking for, but the shadow of doubt wouldn't be shaken so easily. Would she be brave enough to confront her father, or would fear silence her once more? The morning light spilled through the kitchen window, warming the wooden table where Emma served breakfast. The smell of cinnamon and freshly brewed coffee filled the air, a comforting embrace to start the day. Her children, Lily and Sam, were already buzzing with excitement as they planned their day, blissfully unaware of the internal conflict swirling in their mother's heart. Can we make a list of all the things we want to do with Grandpa? Lily's voice danced with enthusiasm. Sam nodded, his chocolate chip pancake half-eaten as he scribbled ideas furiously on a piece of paper. Emma watched them, her own fork frozen midair. The thought of her father's arrival was like a double-edged sword, thrilling yet terrifying. Would they see the loving man she hoped he was? Or the person who had struggled to let his walls down? Sure, let us think of some fun things, she said, forcing a smile. But inside, her stomach churned with uncertainty. Can we start with fishing? Sam suggested, his eyes glimmering. I heard he knows the best spots. Fishing sounds great, Emma said, hiding her apprehension. We should also take him hiking, just like he did with me. She grabbed a pad and pen while her children continued brainstorming, their voices mingling with laughter, each idea sparking new dreams. Somehow, this buoyant atmosphere wrapped around her fears, if only a little. After breakfast, Emma packed sandwiches and snacks, her hands moving on autopilot. Sam and Lily helped, their joy evident as they filled the cooler. The postcard caught her eye once more. Illustrating a simpler time, It spoke of laughter and connection, a reminder of hope. As they drove toward the meeting place, her heart raced, a mix of excitement and anxiety. The trees lining the road were dressed in their fall attire, vibrant hues of orange and red rushing past. More memories flashed before her father teaching her about nature, the way the sun filtered through the leaves, creating a kaleidoscope of colors. "Mom, can I hold the postcard?" Sam's voice broke through her reverie. "Of course," Emma said, handing it back. She watched as he examined the image, his brow furrowing with concentration. "Why do you keep this?" he asked thoughtfully. "It's a reminder of the good times," she replied softly, memories swirling in her thoughts. "A reminder that we can start new ones." As they pulled into the parking area, Emma felt her breath catch. They had arrived. The gravel crunched underfoot as they exited the car, and the chatter in her mind quieted just a bit. Today was about family connection, the hope of healing. "Can you see him?" Lily asked, peering through the trees. "No, but he'll be here soon," Emma said, and her heart willed itself to believe the words. They settled onto a picnic blanket spread across the grass, the children bubbling with energy as they anticipated his arrival. Emma was lost in her thoughts, replaying conversations she wanted to have. The past she had buried was just a few steps away. A rustling sound broke her concentration, and she turned. There he was, her father walking toward them, just as she remembered, but also somehow different. The lines on his face carried years of stories. Deep lines of laughter and possibly pain creased his forehead. "Hey, kids," he called, his voice warm, yet it carried an undercurrent of wariness. Emma's heart raced as he approached. What would happen next? Would the walls that had kept them apart finally begin to crumble? Emma took a deep breath and stood tall, ready to face whatever lay ahead. "Is that the famous postcard?" he asked, glancing at Sam, who held it proudly. "Yeah, Mom says it's a good reminder," he replied, grinning. Emma felt the tension thicken again. "Dad," she started, her voice trembling slightly. He looked at her, uncertainty knitting his brow. How would she break through the invisible wall that loomed between them? The moment felt suspended in air, hope and apprehension orbiting one another. Would they finally uncover the warmth buried beneath the decades? Emma took another breath, ready to plunge into the depths of their shared history. Would this be the moment that forever changed their family dynamic? Or the beginning of another cycle shut behind closed doors? Emma's heart raced as her father took a seat on the blanket. The familiar warmth of his presence was in stark contrast to the chill of uncertainty that surrounded them. She watched him closely, hoping for some spark of connection, a glimmer of the man he used to be. "Wow, this is nice," he said, surveying the picnic spread before him. "You've put in a lot of effort, Emma." "Just something simple," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. She wanted to ask about his journey, his life, all those missing pieces that had slowly turned into a staggering void between them. But how do you start? Where do you find the courage? Lily and Sam wasted no time. "Grandpa, do you really know the best fishing spots?" Sam asked, his eyes bright. Her father smiled, a genuine one that illuminated his face. "I sure do. I used to take your mom out to the lake every summer." Emma shifted uncomfortably. The mention of her childhood was bittersweet. It was a time filled with laughter, but also shadows that never truly left. She couldn't help but wonder, what would her father remember? The fun days, or the darker moments that led to misunderstandings and silence? "Maybe you can show us?" Lily chimed in, breaking the tension. "We can go fishing together. It'll be so much fun." Her father's eyes softened as he looked at her children. "I'd love that," he replied, his voice low but steady. Emma felt a flicker of hope ignite within her. Perhaps this could be the bridge she had been yearning for. Amidst the laughter of her children, she dared to imagine a future where barriers no longer existed, where their past wounds could heal. As they continued to chat about potential fishing trips and hiking trails, Emma found herself lingering on her father's expressions. There were hints of nostalgia mixed with a flicker of something deeper: regret? Longing? She had so many questions swirling around in her mind, but the atmosphere felt precarious. During a lull in the conversation, Emma took a chance. "Dad, can we talk about Everything? There's been a lot between us that us unsaid. He looked taken aback, his brows knitting together again. Emma. Please, she interrupted, her voice stronger than she felt. I just don't want to walk around these walls anymore. Not for ourselves, and especially not for them. She gestured to Lily and Sam, who were now chasing each other, laughing in the soft autumn breeze. Her father hesitated, eyes darting towards the children. Would he see this as a chance for redemption, or as a possibility to retreat behind those walls he had built so high? The picnic, once a cheerful gathering, now felt heavy with the weight of unvoiced histories. I've made mistakes, he finally said, an edge of vulnerability creeping into his tone. I wanted to be there for you, but... Dad, I understand life gets complicated. All I want is to understand you, too. The words hung between them like a fragile thread. Sam returned, breathless but beaming. Can we go fishing today, Grandpa? Please? We can get the rods from the car. In that instant, Emma saw a flicker of resolve in her father's expression, a willingness to step forward, perhaps even just a little bit. After all the years of silence and weariness, could this be the moment that finally broke their cycle? All right, he said slowly, his gaze returning to her. Let's go fishing. Emma exhaled deeply, heart swelling with cautious optimism. Maybe this day would mark the beginning of something transformative, yet as they stood, weaving the fabric of their day together, she couldn't shake the question that buzzed in her mind. Would these tentative steps towards renewal truly lead them to a place of healing? Or would old wounds resurface, threatening their fragile connection? With those thoughts swirling, Emma took her father's arm, leading him toward the car. Everything felt possible yet precarious. They had overcome the first hurdle, but what lay ahead remained shrouded in uncertainty. She glanced back at her children laughing, and as they approached their vehicle, a tingle of anticipation washed over her. Would this day become a stepping stone to deeper understanding, or an echo of the past that refused to fade? The journey ahead was unfolding, and she couldn't help but wonder what revelations awaited them all. As they reached the car, the kids clamored over who would get to help carry the fishing rods. Emma turned the key in the ignition, and the engine roared to life, the sound cutting through her swirling thoughts. The tension in her chest loosened just a bit, but uncertainty still danced in the back of her mind. Her father settled into the back seat, and the sight of him amidst the vibrant chaos of Lily and Sam had an unexpected effect. She caught herself stealing glances in the rearview mirror, noting how engaged he was with her kids. The gleam in his eyes when he recounted fishing tales was a spark she hadn't seen in years. Grandpa, what kind of fish can we catch? Lily asked eagerly, leaning over Sam. The big ones, he replied, a grin breaking across his face. You just have to know where to cast your line. Emma smiled, but as the car drifted down the familiar road leading to the lake, her heart began to race anew. She fought back the urge to question him further about his past, about her childhood. Once they arrived, the lake glistened under the afternoon sun, casting beams of light like tiny diamonds scattered across the water. As they unloaded the gear, Emma noticed her father's demeanor shift. He straightened up, his posture becoming a mix of pride and nervousness as he motioned for the kids to follow him. Let's see if we can find a good spot, he called out, leading the way down a worn path. Emma hesitated, unsure if she should tag along or let them bond without her interference. But as Lily shouted with delight and Sam raced ahead, she felt the magnetic pull to stay close. They set up near an old oak tree. While her father helped the kids bait their hooks, Emma stepped back, letting them have their moment. Yet, she wrestled with her own emotions, torn between wanting to join them and the overwhelming urge to confront her father about everything. After a few minutes, the kids were busily casting their lines, but her father seemed to drift into thought. She noticed him staring at the water, lost in some distant memory. Emma took a deep breath and decided it was now or never. Dad? She called softly, stepping closer. The kids were still focused on their fishing, oblivious to the deeper conversation about to unfold. Can we talk? He shifted his gaze to her, slightly startled. Sure, Emma. What's on your mind? I want to know more about you, about your life, and why things became so complicated between us, she said, keeping her voice steady. A hint of vulnerability crossed his face again. I wish I could say it was easy. There's so much I regret. A silence fell, the only sound coming from the occasional splash of water or excited laughter from the kids. Emma felt the air thicken between them, filled with unexpressed words. But now she didn't want to hide from the discomfort. Dad, I need you to know that I'm ready to listen, she encouraged. It's not just about the past, it's about building something new for us and for the kids. He looked back at the children, their joyful struggles with fishing, and then back at Emma. You know I've always loved you, right? I just lost my way. His admission stung. It was a truth she had longed to hear, yet it felt heavy with unfulfilled promises. I know, but love isn't enough. I need you to be present, to truly be here with us, she said, a plea woven in her words. He nodded, understanding the weight of her request. It's going to take time, Emma. I have to learn how to be a better father. As the sun hung lower in the sky, painting everything in shades of orange and gold, Emma felt an unexpected warmth spread through her heart. Maybe acknowledgement was the first step. Just then, Sam tugged her shirt. Mom, I think I've got one. His rod bent in an arc which drew both their attention, a moment of pure joy cutting through the intensity of their earlier conversation. Looks like Grandpa's going to have some competition, Emma exclaimed, turning to see her father's proud smile, eyes sparkling with excitement again. Yet beneath that surface, Emma wondered about the road ahead. So much lay ahead. Deep waters they hadn't yet navigated. As Sam reeled in his fish, cheers erupted, but that tug of reality remained behind every surface was a deeper story waiting to emerge. Could moments like this help bridge the gap? Could laughter lead them somewhere beyond the shadows of their past? Emma held her breath, hoping that today would mark a new beginning, but she couldn't shake the nagging thought. How many more fish would they need to catch before they could truly understand one another? The excitement of Sam's catch spread like wildfire. The sound of their cheers filled the air, ringing fresh and full of joy. Emma's heart swelled, witnessing their pure delight. But beneath it all, that weighty conversation with her father still loomed. She couldn't ignore it forever. Let us see that fish, buddy, her father encouraged, moving closer to Sam. The moment he reached for the reel, Emma noticed the tenderness in his actions, the way he knelt to their level. It was a sight she had longed for, yet uncertainty still clouded her mind. Would this connection last beyond the lake? Look, Mom. Sam beamed, showing off the wriggling fish. The sun caught its scales, reflecting glimmers that made the little creature shine. Emma felt a surge of pride for her son, but another thought tugged at her heart. What if this moment passed without a deeper understanding between them? Got a good one there, Sam. Emma clapped, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. She wanted to embrace the joy, but felt the barrier still thickening around her father. Now that's a fine catch, young man. He ruffled Sam's hair, and the gesture softened the tension that had simmered in the background. But as they posed for a photo, Emma caught a glimpse of her father. A painful stillness clouded his face when he thought no one was watching. As they snapped pictures and celebrated, Lily's laughter wrapped around Emma like a warm blanket. Grandpa, can I catch one too? She asked, dropping her line excitedly back into the water. Of course, sweet pea, he replied, instantly shifting back into his role, the proud grandfather making things seem light. Emma couldn't help but admire how the kids lit him up, yet she feared their radiance might fade once they returned to the reality of everyday life, where complicated conversations still awaited. The afternoon slipped away with casts and recasts, giggles, and the occasional splash. Soon, Lily caught her first fish too, and the siblings celebrated each victory as if they had discovered a treasure. But that sense of bliss was tinged with a bittersweet undertone in Emma's heart. Let us take a break. Fish don't bite unless we rest, Emma announced, motioning for them to gather on a nearby blanket she laid out on the grass. It was her small attempt at creating a family moment away from the poles. Her father joined them, a little hesitant. This is nice, Emma, he said, although she saw traces of conflict etched in his features. You've done well with the kids. Thanks, Dad. "You've helped a lot today," she said, searching for his gaze. "But I really need us to be okay. I want this to mean something." In that moment, the laughter around them felt like an echo, a hopeful song playing over the clanging of unresolved feelings. Her father was about to respond, but then Lily interrupted. "Can we tell ghost stories?" "Please." "Ghost stories?" Emma chuckled. "In the sunlight?" The kids jumped in with enthusiasm, and as they took turns crafting silly scares and outrageous tales, Emma momentarily pushed her worries aside. This was good. "We can make this work," she thought, watching their smiles. But as dusk approached, the shadows lengthened, revealing the underlying tensions once again. Just as an easy conversation felt within reach, a bird-esque call cut through the dusk, foreboding and sharp. "Hey, Dad," Emma said suddenly, her heart racing. He looked at her. "Yes? About what we talked about earlier. I don't want to delay." A rush of air stole into her lungs. "What do you mean?" Before she could answer, Sam's eyes widened. "Look at that, there's a big fish just under the surface." Emma's heart sank. Would the interruption become her escape yet again? As her father's focus shifted away, she felt time slipping like the water between her fingers. Would she ever find the courage to confront her fears and share the truth of her feelings? Could they really create a different story together? That night, as they packed up their gear, the sky unfurled into a tapestry of stars. The glowing view was breathtaking, yet Emma felt as if she were standing on the edge of a cliff, staring into the unknown. Behind her, her father's laughter echoed as he spun tales with Sam and Lily, but the question lingered. When would she dive back into the waters of their past to uncover the truths they both needed to face? The moment felt electric with possibility. But the uncertainty remained heavy in the air. What if they caught something deeper than fish? Emma stood by the lake's edge, watching the kids' laughter ripple through the air. Their joy clashed with the heaviness in her chest. Each giggle reminded her that quickening moments like these were far too brief. She took a deep breath, trying to find the strength she needed for what loomed ahead. "Do you think we can catch that big one tomorrow?" Sam exclaimed, his eyes glued to the shimmering water. Emma smiled at his optimism. Children have an amazing way of believing in possibilities, she thought. It was that spark, that hope, she wished to capture for herself and for her family. As the sun slipped further behind the trees, the last of its rays painted the sky in hues of pink and orange. Emma felt a mixture of warmth and urgency. Her father was still engrossed in conversation with Sam and Lily, happily regaling them with tales of his own fishing adventures. But a chill settled over her heart as she watched him laugh. When was the last time they'd really laughed together? The memory eluded her, slipping away like the smoke from their campfire. "Time for our little explorers to wind down," she called out, trying not to let the tension seep into her voice. It was a gentle nudge for them to gather round, a reminder that the day was coming to a close. She needed to take charge of this family moment. "Can we just try for 5 more minutes?" Lily asked, her dark curls bouncing as she looked up at Emma with wide, pleading eyes. Emma surrendered, the corners of her lips curling into a smile. "All right, but only 5. The kids squealed with delight and rushed back to their poles, their focus shifted once more to the water. Emma turned toward her father, who now sat on a nearby rock, watching the scene unfold with a soft smile. It was a comforting sight, yet that lingering tension still hung in the air. The kids deserved to see their grandfather at his best, but she wanted to peel back the layers too. "Dad," she said, finding her voice as she approached him. "Can we talk?" He looked up, his smile wavering for a moment, before he nodded slowly. "Sure, Emma. What's on your mind?" The casual way he said it made her heart race. She wanted to reach into the depths of their relationship, but fear whispered doubts. What would he say? Would he flee the moment she laid her heart bare? She took a deep breath. "I just feel like we've been running around so much, like everything is just surface level with us. I want to talk about what happened when I was a kid, about those years. I can't help but feel like it affects everything, even here right now." He shifted on the rock, his expression growing serious. "I thought we were navigating that. I thought the kids were doing great, and that's what mattered. But it matters that we're doing great too. Her voice trembled slightly, but she pressed on. I want them to know what love looks like. I need them to see how families can heal, not just be. Will you talk with me, really talk? Her father sighed, his shoulders sinking as he considered her words. Emma held her breath, waiting for a response that could shift everything. The sound of splashes nearby faded into the background, becoming an unintelligible hum. Just as he opened his mouth to speak, a flash of movement caught their attention, a commotion at the edge of the water. Sam and Lily shouted together, the excitement in their voices rising again. Look, we caught another one. And with that, her father's focus slipped away once more. Just like that, her chance to connect vanished into the night, lost among the thrilled yelps of her children. Feeling the familiar weight of frustration, Emma turned back towards the kids, who were wrangling their newest catch. For every moment that was lost, there was the dazzling wonder of what they might hold in their hands. Tomorrow, then, she whispered to herself, hoping the day would provide another opportunity. As she watched the children, she couldn't shake the thought, healing sometimes takes courage, and more than a little faith. The stars began to twinkle overhead, and the air turned cooler. As she wrapped her arms around herself, she wondered what would it take to douse the fires of the unspoken between them? What awaited her when dawn broke? And when would they finally cut through the undercurrents holding back the truth? Emma rose early the next morning, the sun filtering through the cracks in the blinds like soft ribbons of light. She lay in bed, listening to the gentle rustle of leaves outside and the distant calls of birds, a reminder that a new day had begun. Today felt different, filled with promise. There was a sense of urgency that had awakened within her. After slipping into her favorite sweater, she made her way to the kitchen. The familiar scent of coffee enveloped her as she poured herself a cup, the heat warming her hands. Sipping cautiously, she let the warmth spread through her. Today, she resolved, she would make the most of those fleeting moments. As she gazed out the window, her mind drifted to yesterday's conversations. Digging deep into their realities felt daunting. What was it going to take to reach her father? She sighed, glancing at the kids who were sprawled on the living room floor, wrestling over who would get to choose the first fishing spot of the day. Their laughter bubbled up, filling the air with an innocence that was both comforting and heartbreaking. Anyone want to help me pack up the snacks? Emma called out, hoping to get them munching while also preparing for the day. Lily shot up like a jack-in-the-box, her curls bouncing as she raced to the kitchen. Sam trailed behind, less enthusiastic but willing to join in on the adventure. Can we take the peanut butter sandwiches? Lily asked, eyes sparkling with excitement. And gummy worms too? Emma chuckled, acknowledging the quintessential part of any kid's lunch, sugar-laden treats. Sure, let us make it a proper picnic. As she spread the peanut butter, stealing a glance at her children, a warmth flooded her. These were the moments, the laughter, the chaos, the simple joys. She wished her dad would feel included in this happiness. Later, they gathered by the lake once more. The air was brisk, with just a hint of the warmth that summer promised. Emma watched as Sam and Lily cast their fishing lines into the water, their concentration etched on their faces. Near the edge, her father stood with his pole in hand, casting off with a level of dedication that reminded her of how things once were. Hey, Dad, Emma said, stepping closer, heart racing. Do you mind if I join you? He looked up, surprised yet pleased. Of course, Em. I'd love that. As she stood beside him, she felt the gap between them begin to close, if just a fraction. Their lines cut through the water, and for a moment, the only sound was the gentle lapping of waves and the rustle of reeds swaying in the wind. I was thinking, Emma began, hesitating but pushing forward. About yesterday. I really want us to talk. I don't want to keep dancing around things anymore. Her father glanced at her, his brow creased with worry. I know it's hard to dig up the past. Especially when you think it'll shake up our family. I don't think it will, she replied, her voice steady. I think talking about it can strengthen us. I see how Sam and Lily laugh. They need to see that love can triumph over memories that hurt. Her words hung heavy in the air, waiting for his response. He lowered his eyes to the water, and she held her breath, hands trembling over the pole. Would he finally understand? Would he ever be ready to face what lay beneath? Suddenly, Sam shouted, pulling hers and her father's attention back to him. I think I've got something. Help me. For a second, Emma's heart sank. Will that chance slip away again? But maybe there was strength in the in-betweens, in the shared moments of anticipation and discovery. They rushed over to Sam, who was panting with excitement, his line taut. In those small moments, each joyous shout became like a stepping stone toward connecting their hearts. As they helped him bring in his catch, an impressive fish wriggling in the sunlight, Emma realized that she must hold on to this courage, this need to reach out. Healing wouldn't happen in a single conversation, but today was a start. And as the morning unfolded before her, she recognized a lesson in every exhaled breath. Sometimes love shows itself in patience and discovery, wrapped tightly in the bounce of a child's laughter. But would her father find the same courage to speak his truth today? Emma's heart raced at the thought. Was this really the moment she had been waiting for? As Sam reeled in his catch, Emma felt an overwhelming rush of emotions. She watched the joy radiate from her son, his eyes wide with excitement. Suddenly, the air felt lighter, charged with possibilities. Perhaps, just perhaps, this could be the moment that would shift everything. Wow, Sam. That's a great fish, Emma exclaimed, the words pouring out with genuine pride. They stood together, marveling at the shining scales glistening under the sun. For a moment, laughter enveloped them like a warm blanket, and Emma's heart glowed with hope. Let us take a picture. Dad, come on, Sam urged, tugging at his grandfather's sleeve. Her father hesitated, glancing at Emma before letting out a soft sigh. All right, let us capture the memory, he replied, stepping closer. Emma's heart swelled. He was participating. This simple act felt monumental. As they gathered around Sam and the fish, Emma quickly snapped a photo, the embrace of family warmth wrapping snugly around them. The click of the camera shutter echoed, sealing that moment, that unity, into a single frame. All right, little buddy, now what do you want to do with it? Her father asked, putting on a teasing voice, trying to mask the sincerity behind his eyes. Let us throw it back. Can we, Mom? Sam's enthusiasm was contagious, and it made Emma smile, but she caught the glimmer in her father's eyes as he looked at her, searching for that shared understanding. Yeah, let us let it go. Back into the water, she affirmed, her heart beating fast. This small decision felt monumental, as if it symbolized her hopes for letting go of their past pains. With a touch of trepidation, they held the fish, its scales shimmering in the sunlight. Together, they walked to the edge of the lake, the water rippling gently. Sam leaned in, chucking the fish back into the water. The splash was a sweet sound, the ripples echoing like the laughter still bouncing around them. Did you see that? He swam away. Best day ever, Sam shouted, throwing his hands up in victory. His joy was infectious, but even in that joyful moment, Emma felt the shadows creeping in. She gazed at her father, his expression unreadable. She knew the weight of unresolved feelings was still there, lurking just beneath the surface. Dad, can we talk? She said gently, her voice a mix of caution and hope. This was the moment she had been preparing for. He sighed deeply, the tension in his shoulders visible. Maybe we should after we finish fishing, he suggested, his words trailing off into uncertainty. Sure, Emma replied, trying to remain positive despite the jitter in her stomach. She turned to the kids, determined not to let the moment dampen their spirits. Who's ready for lunch? But just then, a familiar figure appeared on the path leading to the lake. It was Janet, their neighbor from down the road. Her eyes sparkled with excitement as she waved. Hey there. I saw your truck and couldn't resist stopping by. Thought I'd bring you guys some delicious lemonade, she exclaimed, pulling a cooler from her car. Lily's eyes lit up, and she rushed over. Thanks, Janet. Can we have some now? Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted, and laughter erupted again. Emma could feel the warmth of community wrap around her, easing the tension in her chest. As Janet served the kids, Emma caught her father's gaze, lingering over the small gathering. They shared a quiet moment, one where she could see glimmers of vulnerability in his eyes. Emma took a breath, casting her lines back into the water, and hoping to cast out her fears as well. She wanted him to be part of this moment, part of their family again. "Dad, after lunch, can we talk about us?" She pressed gently, knowing that the urgency hadn't faded. His eyes searched hers, harmony and unease mingled together. It was time. Will her father finally join her in peeling back the layers of pain, or would they drift apart again, carried on the currents of unspoken truths? Emma waited, heart pounding, for the answer she so desperately needed. As they sat together on the picnic blanket, the children giggling over their lemonade and sandwiches, Emma felt a mix of warmth and apprehension. The laughter of Sam and Lily was blissful, a beautiful melody that filled the air, yet at its core was the lingering weight of what needed to be said. "Dad," she began, stealing glances at him, "after we eat, can we finally talk about everything?" The words hung between them, a fragile thread waiting for his response. He looked at her, eyes reflecting a sea of emotions: regret, fear, and a hint of longing. "All right, Emma, I think we need to." Relief washed over her, buoyed by the realization that this was it. She could sense the shift, the possibility of unraveling the tightly woven fabric of their past. Once the children finished their lunch, Emma gathered her courage and motioned for her father to follow her away from the picnic blanket, seeking a quiet spot beneath a sprawling oak tree. The leaves whispered with the wind, filling the space with a gentle rustling sound as they settled into a soft patch of grass. "First of all," she started, her voice steady yet soft, "I want you to know how much it means to me to have you here. And to see you with the kids." She gestured at Sam teaching Lily how to fish with such fervor. "It fills my heart with joy, but we can't avoid what has happened between us." His shoulders slumped, a weight settling heavily over him. "I know I've made mistakes, Emma. It's hard for me to admit it. I didn't want to be the dad who just left. I felt your absence. Growing up without knowing you was incredibly painful, Dad. But more than that, I want to understand your side. Why did things go wrong?" The echo of her voice was like a drum, resonating through the silence of the afternoon. Her father shifted uneasily, looking out over the lake where the kids were now reeling in another catch. "I thought staying away would make things easier for us." He paused, forcing himself to breathe. "But I was wrong. I see that now. I regret the choices I made. I thought they were for your sake, and instead, I robbed you of knowing me." Emma nodded, feeling the gravity of his words. "I just want you in our lives, Dad. I want the kids to see who you are, not just a figure from my memories. We can rebuild if we try together." She felt tears pricking her eyes, a mix of pain and hope that flowed through her. "I don't even know where to start," he murmured. "Start with your stories. Share them with me. Share them with them." She gestured to the kids as they celebrated their catches. "Let them know you. Not just the good, but the whole picture." Her father's brow furrowed, his voice barely a whisper. "But what if it causes more pain? There are parts of me that I'm ashamed of, things I wish weren't my reality. Those things have shaped you, they're part of your story. And letting us in means we can all learn and heal," she urged, feeling fire ignite within her at the thought of taking this leap. He locked eyes with her, his gaze searching. "Can you really forgive me? For all the lost time? I've spent too long with that hurt deep inside to let it hold me back anymore." "Forgiveness starts with understanding." Each word resonated with the truth she felt swelling in her heart. He took a deep breath and nodded slightly, building resolve. "Okay, I'll share my stories. I think I'm ready." A flicker of hope ignited between them. Just then, laughter erupted near the water as Sam and Lily caught yet another fish, the sound cutting through the tension. Emma grinned, rising slightly as their joy danced on the currents of the lake. "Look, Mom. It's huge." Sam's slice of happiness flooded Emma with warmth. She turned to her father, a moment of realization washing over her. "You see that?" She pointed. "That joy? That's what family can do. They deserve to know their grandpa, and so do you." Her father smiled, a little lighter, a little more willing, and the reminder of love enveloped her. Together, he said softly, leaning closer. Yes, together, Emma echoed, feeling the brightness around them. The sound of giggles, splashes, and the natural ebb and flow of life wrapped around them, a perfect backdrop for this newfound connection. As the sun began to lower, painting the sky in hues of pink and orange, Emma's heart swelled. This was the beginning of conversations, of understanding, of healing. She could now imagine a future where the shadows of their past wouldn't just linger, but would diminish in the light of their love and new memories. "Let us go catch more fish," her father said, suddenly rising. "I'm not going to miss this chance." With radiant smiles and hearts open, they joined the children, casting lines into the shimmering water. Emma exhaled, feeling the weight lift with every enchanting splash, every giggle intertwining with the deeper shouts of rediscovery, and in that perfect moment, they could all begin anew. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting this channel through these actions.